Initiative is something that, unlike experience points, you can't really get rid of it. Initiative allows you to have fair combat rounds. In most role-playing systems, it takes into account certain abilities and skills that a player character or a monster might have, and applies those to a dice roll that determines who's going to go first and who's going to go last and everybody in between. It's not an arbitrary way to determine combat order, and that can really affect the result of a combat round. It can actually decide a whole battle, depending on who goes first and who goes last. But initiative is something that is a little bit of a pain to keep track of. There are some systems that let you determine initiative at the beginning of the combat and then just keep the same order in every round, so you don't have to re-roll every round. There are some other systems that, if you go by the rules, they require you to roll initiative for every round. And then not only you have to roll for every single character, you will need to roll either for a group of monsters or for each monster, and then you have this situation where you have a lot of monsters, and what do you do? Well, maybe you have a group of 12 goblins, where you might split them in groups of 4, which is something I've done before. So that way you don't have a battalion of 12 goblins attacking at the same time, which could decimate something like a low-level party. So you try to be fair, you try to look for all these different ways of doing things so that everything remains as balanced and as fair as you can make it. I'm going to be talking today about 3 ways which I've used to keep track of initiative and which have been, effective. One of them is meh. The second one is not bad. And the third one, which is my current system, I really like, and I want to share it with you guys. The first system is a typical one where you roll for everybody, you write down the numbers, and you write it down in some place that you can erase easily, you can modify easily. And there you write the names, you write the roles. Game Master would take those roles, merge them with the rolls he made for the monsters, and then let the combat begin. However, you still have to either roll every round or keep the same initiative for every round, which, to be honest, is not that realistic. If you think about it, not everybody's going to react the same way every time. So after digging and thinking and searching and wondering what to do, I came up with a second solution: initiative cards, which I keep in this thing. This is a design I made for Basic Fantasy, and you can see it there. It has some basic stats. You got your character name, you got your stat block, you got armor, attack bonuses, melee, missile bonuses, saving throws, level or hit dice, movement, and number of attacks and damage. So it was kind of like a combination stat block / initiative card. And the way it will work, let's say I have, for example, I have monsters here that I've used in previous games. I will roll for each monster or character, then I will put them in order, and then basically go one by one, making sure that I put them like this. So once I use one, put it in the back, put it in the back. That will keep the order in sync for every single round. Not bad at all. The way I did this is that I created the design on Microsoft Visio, and then sent them to Office Depot to print as business cards. So this is business card size. I printed, I think it was like 500 for less than $10, something. This is a ridiculous price. Actually a really good deal. So this worked for a while. But a system like Basic Fantasy, if you go by the rules, it requires that you roll initiative per round. Honestly, it makes it more exciting, but how to keep track of all of that? So what it is that by using Google Sheets, I created a spreadsheet that rolls the initiative for you. You can enter any number of monsters or player characters, bonuses that may apply or penalties to the initiative roll. You can enter the die roll that you want to use. Some systems, for example, Basic Fantasy uses a D6, Dungeons & Dragons uses a D20, and based on that, you can roll the initiative for all your combat participants. So here we are in the spreadsheet. You can see the name of the characters there, and as I click the button to roll initiative, you see the order of the names change. Sometimes takes a little bit to run the script, but it runs pretty well. Then you can add, let's add a player character here, Bilbo, and let's add probably more numbers for monsters.
And you can see that every time I make a change, it'll re-roll. So you have to keep that in mind. Then I just keep rolling, and it takes into account any modifiers that apply to each character or monster. So I'm going to put a modifier here for a monster. And there you have the results. The list sorts automatically every time you click, and you just read down the list and you have your initiative per round. Pretty simple. So now let's take a look at how you can change the initiative die. So let's sort of do a D20 system, and that feels partially protected, so it'll ask you confirmation. And now you have a D20 system for initiative. Modifiers apply. If you want to change them, you can change them, and just keep rolling. Just like that. You can use any base die system you might need for whatever system you are playing with. So this is truly a generic application for initiative. And let's take a look at the script that handles the code. Basically, what we do when we click the button is that we modify a cell that is hidden behind the button, because that triggers the recalculation. The actual roll is done in the cells with this calculation. Basically, I check if there's a name entered. If there's a name entered, I calculate a random between 1 and the initiative die cell. Or if not, I assign a value of -99. I did that because I was having some weird spacing issues when the names would show up at the bottom. So I had to push in a value, basically force a value, and then through formatting, basically if the value is equal to -99, the cell is going to be the text of the cell is going to be white. So that way it doesn't show, and you get a nice list of names, and everything looks, fairly decent.
So that's it, friends. That's how it works. As easy as that. Enter names, enter any identifier for monsters, make sure your initiative die is set correctly, click the button, and enjoy. You have your initiative per round. This to me has proven to be even way more exciting than having a fixed initiative per combat. Every time there's a new round, players don't know, if they're going to do something. In fact, in a couple of situations, it has happened that the character that finished the round last in initiative gets to go first the next round. So for the character, it feels like they're going twice, so they can do multiple things. It helps keep the combat exciting and players on their toes, wondering how things are going to turn out. So I'm putting a link in the doobly-doo for the spreadsheet. I'm sharing this for free for you guys. Make sure when you get the link to make a copy of it, otherwise you're not going to be able to modify it. When you make a copy of it, then it saves to your own Google Drive, and then you're going to be able to use it. It might ask you for some permissions for the scripts to run, because it's a safety requirement from Google. But as you saw, the script is very simplistic. Nothing gets modified. It's just to execute the modification of that cell when you click, so that the spreadsheet recalculates and updates. So feel free to share it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you use it. And I hope it brings more excitement to your combat rounds and makes everything more unpredictable and just purely exciting for your players. So tell me, do you have any particular system to manage initiative? Let me know in the comments. I would really like to know other approaches to either using the conventional initiative system, or do you have some different ideas? Let me know. I'm really interested in seeing different approaches to this whole initiative thing. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe, and that way you'll know every time I post a new video. Feel free to share this. That's pretty awesome if you do so, and I really appreciate it. And until next time, keep those D20s rolling.